Yo, what's up, Rolling Out family? It's Eddie Precise Lamar, and you are locked into art and culture. On August 14th, the Auxiliary Network launches the Auxiliary Podcast during opening night of the XL 25 Film Festival at Hyde Park Labs, featuring Twista, the Silver Room documentary, and a lineup of Chicago legends. I have them today on the line with me right now. How y'all doing today?
What's going on, my brother?
How you doing, my bro?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Dude, could you do me a favor and just let's go around the introductions?
Okay, I am your boy Tommy B.
I am Liz Toussaint.
And of course, I'm super producer Toxic, you dig?
Yes, yes. So let's talk about this. And, either one of you could take this. What inspired the creation of the Auxiliary Network and the podcast?
Tommy.
You want me to take that?
Yes.
Well, so it started as a podcast at first. It wasn't a network at first. It was a podcast. I came up with it because I wanted to shine the light on all of our legends and up and coming stars, and we were seeing that it wasn't that many people when it came down to other people that was interviewing like our folks. They weren't giving them the questions that they needed to get to pull the right answers out of them. So it was like the reason why I look like that is because they don't know them. So we was like, we need to come up with something that can where we can shine the light on our people, give them their flowers. And it started off, like I said, it started off as a podcast, but then we pulled in one of our partners, Yancey Watkins, and he's like real big on the business side of things. So when he saw what we were doing, he was like, nah, man, it's not just some little podcast. You guys got an entire network that's going on here. It's a whole ecosystem within this thing that y'all probably not seeing. So we got with him, and it went from the Auxiliary Podcast to the Auxiliary Network.
Indeed, indeed. So why was the opening night of the XL Film Festival the perfect time to launch?
Liz, you could take that.
So it was the perfect time because it was God's timing. we didn't plan it at all. It just happened. Like we met with Troy. There was an opportunity there. We were still in process of like finalizing everything. We did it very slow. Like we've been filming the podcast for a year. So this isn't a podcast that we just jumped on, filmed it, and put it out. We've been sitting with it and curating it. And then when Troy found out, he offered us an opportunity to host the opening night for the XL25 Film Festival. And we decided that we would launch the small version of the site on that date. It literally just was divine timing, honestly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it when things work out like that specifically. I see on the list of people that you'll be honoring is everybody from George Daniels to Danny Boy, Jay Ivy. What episode stands out the most? You said you recorded some. So what episode at this time stands out the most? And either of you could take that one.
Tox, you want to go first? Because I think we all have a different opinion.
Yeah, well, I'll say, like, really honestly, all of them kind of stood out.
Oh man, come on.
I'm gonna give you one though, but what I wanted to say too was basically with the podcast, we wanted to shine the light on, like Tommy said, on our people and let them tell their stories. A lot of times these stories get missed with other places and other people that tell our stories because they don't really know our stories. We do. So we wanted to make sure our people get that shine and we able to let them tell their story amongst the people that they know. You know what I mean? But for me, the one show that stood out the most, I think we have so much fun when we do these podcasts, man. But I gotta say the Jay Ivy one was really like the one for me because we was all a little toasted on that show, man, and we just really let loose. And Jay Ivy was able, like, somebody who knows Jay Ivy very well was like, I didn't even know that about him after they saw the podcast. You know what I mean?
Well,
Or a snippet of what we did. So
I want to hop in real quick. That's the Grammy award winning J.I.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Legendary,
Yeah.
trailblazing, not just Grammy Award winning. He created the category.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So he calls what when we have our little drink on the show, he calls it continuity. So that's what we start calling it, continuity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that a drink has a way of doing that, keeping everything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, Leah.
Yeah. So I think that my favorite interview was probably Danny Boy, because I came up in the era when all of that stuff was happening, and Danny came back home, and we've all been doing music a long time, but I was a part of that era of music. So to sit with Danny and to hear what his human perspective was at a time that is so historic was like, it was profound for me, especially finding out all the things that he had been through, and the way that he um just had God's grace on him. It was huge for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure that episode was like mind blowing, because
Mind blowing.
I know there's no way that he told every single story. And what I find interesting about Chicago artists is that we're always in the mix somewhere.
Yep.
Hmm.
Great that's going on, right? So y'all can
Yep.
imagine that
Well,
must be
I'll tell you one thing, and she failed to mention this, but Liz has
You gotta stop saying I'm failing. I'm not failing at anything.
well, she didn't fail. She's not failing at
Can't wait
anything,
for
but
this podcast.
she didn't mention this, but she has a way of making these people cry on these shows. So on that episode with Danny, he actually, let it all out. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just an amazing experience. You know what I'm saying, for us and for
Yeah,
him.
but you'll also see Toxic cutting it off. And
You put some editing on that, Toxic?
Yeah, well, no, well, we have this word that we use during our podcast called unplug. So at the moment, he had started talking about some things that would have kind of had a legal some legal ramifications. So I was like, no, unplug. But it got juicy on there, to say the least. Like it was some good stuff, man.
Indeed. So
what's
Tom,
yours, Tom?
Mine, I got two. So Leon Rogers first, because my favorite story is the story about him and James Brown getting cursed out by James Brown. I think that is the funniest story I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, y'all got to check that out. And then the other one, which was very surprising to me because that was actually my first time meeting them, was Do or Die. I didn't think that Do or Die was and it could sound bad. I don't mean it in a bad way, but I did not think that they would be as deep and as intelligent as they are. But yeah, they came on there, man, and they were going in. Like I didn't expect the type of conversation that we got from a group called Do or Die for it to from it to come from them.
right.
But yeah, them two was my favorite.
And shout out to them. They just dropped a video 20 years later after dropping.
Yeah, do you.
Absolutely.
It's going crazy. Yep.
Which is
Shout out to Do or Die.
legendary.
That's
Yep.
100% legendary for sure.
Yep.
Legendary.
Real talk.
You know, you've touched on this, and we've been talking about it again. And it's, if we could venture back into the reason and the mission behind this podcast. So we have all these amazing artists here in Chicago, and a lot of people don't get their due, or they're not discussed enough.
Yep.
Why was it important for you to do that right now?
Well, I'm gonna say another thing was, the story of Chicago and Chicago music and hip hop and R&B and house music and the impact we had on the culture of music has not been given to us at all. And a lot of times it's because people don't really know the story. So you'll take these older artists or legendary artists, not older artists from Chicago, and people are not really hip to their stories. They don't know the story. So we felt like, and a lot of them don't really tell their stories. And you know what I'm saying? Because of the platforms that we have now, we felt like it was the perfect timing for us to grab these artists and say, look, come on our show and tell your story. And because what happens is when you tell the story, or they tell their story, it inspires the younger people, you know what I'm saying, to kind of understand the struggles that they went through and know, you know what I'm saying, what they can actually accomplish, you know what I'm saying, and seeing their accomplishments. So
Mhm.
that's why I think it was an important thing for us to do. And I think we've accomplished that so far with the episodes that we got thus far.
I want to also point out that though we started with our heart in Chicago, we've interviewed people outside of Chicago. So we've completely expanded to interviewing people from all over the place. But we focused on home first because that's what they say you're supposed to do. You start at home.
So can you talk about the lineup for the night and how each part reflects the city's culture?
Okay. So when you say the lineup, you talking about the show or the entire event?
Well, not the show specifically, but the event for Excel Fest. Because are you going to be showing, like, what's happening on that night?
So on that evening, we're doing everything in Chicago culture from food to drink to music, to film. So when you come in, you're going to experience food from the Soul Food Lounge, Brown Sugar Bakery, um, I can't think of the Italian food place.
Forenzi.
What is that? Right. We've got Uncle John's Barbecue will be there. Moore's Brewing, Love Corkscrew.
Eris.
Um, we got Eris, who's from the north side, that sponsored drinks for us. There's so many people and so much food culture. Like most people don't understand how I'm big on food. So especially food in Chicago because we're so great at it, which is a segment that we have on our show called Big Back. So in honor of the Big Back, we have all of these sponsors, and I can give you a list of them because I can't think of them all right now.
Right.
That will be there that you will be able to experience. And then when you come in, we got the sounds from DJ Mustafa Rocks, who's a Chicago staple in the music.
At Jimmy
Um,
Nelson.
and then we're actually going to be doing some screenings. So we'll be screening a film called Brand New. It's a short. We'll also be screening a film with the Silver Room, and you'll get to hear from Eric Williams. And then we'll also be sitting down with Bo Deal, who has one of the biggest films on Tubi currently, who's a Chicago filmmaker and hip hop artist. And then we'll also be sitting with John Monopoly, who is known for being Kanye West's manager. And then at the end, we'll be doing a tribute to George Daniels, which is something that is because it is the XL Fest opening night, and it's our launch party. And George is screening his film the next day. We thought that it was very important that we make sure that we show George how much we love, appreciate him, and see him.
Yes, that's going to be a blockbuster evening. I can't wait to see that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now back to the podcast in itself. So in a world where podcasting is taking over, what is it that makes the Aux podcast stand out?
We're real. We're genuine. Not to say that the other people aren't genuine. I'm not going to be shady. But I think that what sets us apart is we really Chicago. Like we all are born and raised in Chicago. We from the South Side and the West Side and some a little bit on the East Side. And I think that we bring the authentic Chicago voice to the ears of people who wouldn't otherwise have the ability to hear our specific experience in Chicago, because Chicago got a lot of different energies, and I don't think that people actually experience the creatives, because that's who we are. We are the creatives of Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah, and
And
our
we,
podcast is also not led by the guests that we have, but we're really when you watch our podcast, us three is like the centerpiece of what the podcast is. It's our personalities that pretty much bring you in, and yeah. Taco,
yeah,
what you
and
gonna say?
we all look like brothers and sisters, and they say so. We got a decent look to us, on screen. So people be wanting to see us, but also like our chemistry, like Tommy said, our chemistry right from the first time Tommy and I have been knowing each other for years, and Tommy and Liz have been knowing each other for years, but me and Liz first met, and when we first met, we just hit it off. Like it was like we've been knowing each other for years, and our chemistry on camera is that. We don't have to act. Ain't no bullshitting. It's just us, you know what I'm saying? And we bring that authenticity to it, like Liz said. And I think it's just it's a unique space too, like I said, Eddie, because nobody has told these stories, you know what I'm saying, that you're gonna hear from our podcast. Watch. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna hear some shit you ain't never heard, you know, when you listen to our podcast.
By the way, Eddie, can we curse on here? Because Toxic is letting it
Oh, I'm
ride.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
we've been past that point.
Okay, yeah, because he's
Oh, okay.
living up to his name. 100%.
Hey, but look, Tommy's saying that, but look, Eddie, Tommy's saying that, but every podcast he start off like we in this mother. He just goes straight in. I'll be like, dude, don't do that.
This ain't
Right off-
about me. We talking about you, sir.
Yo, we've been past that. So, how do you envision the Aux podcast growing beyond this launch event and the episodes that you recorded thus far?
Well, that's what we said. The podcast is the podcast is going to grow because the network is going to grow. You know what I mean? And we've put together a network that goes along with the podcast. And our whole goal is to not just have our show. Our show is the lead show for the actual network.
Flagship, yeah.
Flagship show, but we have podcast TV that we're introducing to the world, which will be other podcasts that are under the auxiliary podcast vertical. You know what I mean? So you'll see you'll see the whole emergence of something new, but also the quality of what we do is what we love about what we do is too as well. We're not just putting out podcasts with a microphone and 2 or 3 people talking. It's real quality. They're more shows than anything. Like we have inserts. We really tell a story. It looks like the quality that any other TV show would look like. And it's not just a normal podcast. That's the difference.
What's one thing you would want people to feel when they walk away from listening to one of your episodes or watching?
That's a Liz question. She's always in tune with the more spiritual side of these things. Liz, answer that.
So I would want somebody to walk away feeling like they just sat with a bunch of their friends and just chopped it up. You know how when you ain't seen your friend in a long time and y'all just go have a drink or sit on the couch or whatever and you take the time to chop it up with that person. That's how it is when we're together. So when people listen to us, I hope that they feel seen, heard, understood, and unguarded.
Indeed.
Yeah. And at the end of every show, Liz also does this "What We've Learned Today" thing at the end of every show. So our thing is also to affect the culture, the younger generation, and giving them knowledge that of things that they probably don't have knowledge of in regards to the Chicago culture, but also trying to lead them in the right direction. So that's why at the end of each show, Liz tells them something that they can learn or people can learn, you know what I'm saying, from what we talked about with our guests. And there was something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. But that's really the gist of it.
But I want to shout out, since you said the young people, I want to shout out the Auxmen because we had our meeting last night with our Aux turns, and they are officially the Auxmen. We got a bunch of young, creative directors, writers, singers, songwriting, and we're going to be supporting them and helping them create and give them the support we didn't have when we were their age. So we're excited to do that because we got some really, really dope people.
Yeah, and if you look behind me over here, Eddie, you'll see all these plaques and stuff, man.
Oh, God.
This is how we do it, Eddie. You know what I'm saying?
I saw the hardware behind you. Who's that behind you though?
That's Cardi B, that's Keisha Cole,
okay.
and that's Twista. You
You
did.
got to talk that talk, you know.
Yeah, and then in the hallway, I got Kanye, I got Jay-Z, I got So this is what I'm trying to tell you, Eddie. So our base is music though, and so you'll see we got some of the biggest name music and entertainment music people in our network too as well. You know what I'm saying? You got Cosign, you got Cajun, you got Tommy B, you got Liz, who's an incredible country singer. You have so many, Malone, everybody that works with us has had a real deep impact in Chicago music, you know what I mean? And have done big things. So that's really the basis of what we do, which is music. And we'll have also a music label. Well, we don't even like to call it a label, but we have a music vertical on the auxiliary network too as well. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that.
Awesome. So where will the podcast live in the internet world? Where can people find you?
So you can find us on social media. The Auxiliary Pod, that's our podcast socials. You can find anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, all socials. And then the network side is Auxnet Media, AUXNETMEDIA. And that's all socials for the network side.
Awesome.
And then when we, in order to see our extended versions of our podcast and also behind the scenes stuff and all the additional stuff along with the longer clips of our podcast, you would have to join and subscribe to our network that'll be launching in November. And that's theauxnetwork.com. So yeah, that'll be launching in November along with all our other amazing content.
Wonderful. Liz, Tommy, Toxic, thank you so much for joining us today here on Arts.
Thank you, brother.
Culture. I appreciate you. Yo, Rolling Out family, make sure you beat me at the Aux podcast launch Thursday, August 14th, 2025 at Hyde Park Labs, 5207 South Harper Avenue. Doors open at 6 p.m. VIP at 5 p.m. Let's show up for Chicago culture. Yo, this is your man Precise, and as I always say, stay focused, positive, and productive. Peace.
Peace.